Keep yourself in the loop of everything football. Listen to Alex and Jeremiah on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Hello there, I'm Jeremiah.
I am Alex, always and forever here.
Dedicated to college and NFL football. The latest football news on and off the field. NFL draft trade rumors. We've got you covered from the NFL, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, and everything else in between. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, where we talk the latest news, rumors, and games of the NFL and college football, from the latest signings to this year's breakout stars and all of the news in between. As always, I'm Alex.
And I am Jeremiah.
And we are back here on Monday to talk all of the wonderful things that happened in the world of football over the weekend. Today we're going to talk about the weekend scores of the NFL, and at the end of the show we're going to preview tonight's Monday night football game between the Ravens and the Patriots. In between that, we're going to talk a little bit about college football in regards to some coaching positions and maybe just a quick update on a big story from the weekend in terms of the Heisman winner that we all saw coming anyway. But first, let's go ahead and start with the weekend that was in the world of football. We had, starting the day off in the morning, we had the Steelers defeating the Bills in a game that looked a little closer on the board than it was overall. It was 13-27 at that point. They scored a touchdown to kind of, time expiring. But 27-20 was at the end score for the Steelers, and a win for them to take the 3 seed of the playoffs, debating on what happens tonight with the Ravens. If they win, they're back in that third spot. Le'Veon Bell, though, the biggest story in this one, 38 carries, 236 yards rushing, 298 total yards from scrimmage, and 3 scores. The guy was a monster. Had him on a fantasy team, believe me. I know. We moved to a fellow AFC game. We have the Titans versus the Broncos. In the game, the Titans win and very much do everything they can to keep pace with the Texans in the AFC South. They win this one 13-10. Trevor Siemian throws for 334 yards and a touchdown, but they cannot come out on top. 2 turnovers from them, 2 fumbles. If you want an idea of consistency from the running back position, how about a running back named Justin Forsett, whom didn't fumble a football since 2009. And he fumbles in his first carry with the team. Wow. That's not good.
It's not good at all.
I mean, it's understandable, but yeah, since he hadn't lost a fumble since 2009, and he loses his first one with them, the big issue for them is they tallied under 50 yards rushing as a team. Turnovers, third down percentage. Broncos just couldn't win this one. We move on to an NFC matchup in the division. The Redskins defeat the Eagles 27-22 with a late touchdown run. Nice toss left from Robert Kelly there. He ended the day with 63 yards and a score. Carson Wentz, 314 and a touchdown, and a big day from Zach Ertz. This game was weird for a lot of reasons. They lost their long snapper, John Dornbos, and his backup within the game. So Brent Selleck decides to do a little long snapping, and then he gets hurt. So Trey Burton, backup tight end, is the last long snapper to long snap in the day. And surprisingly, only one bad snap really all day, with the weird amount of snapping going on from non-snappers. So
not only that, Trey Burton also was having a pretty good day as a receiver.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Carson Wentz is looking to him towards most of the game.
Big pick six on the tail end of a pass from Kirk Cousins to give the Eagles a lead, but he made right and drove them down for a game-winning score. We move to the next matchup of the day, and the Dolphins defeat the Cardinals 26-23. Ryan Tannehill, 195 yards passing, 3 scores. Jarvis Landry, a big day for him, 4 receptions, but 103 yards. But worse news for them is it's not confirmed yet, but it does look like Ryan Tannehill has torn his ACL. Excuse me. So a team that actually holds the second wildcard spot in the AFC playoff race right now looks to be finishing its season with Matt Moore under center, which can be something to keep an eye on. I didn't think the Dolphins were the greatest team in terms of playoff caliber heading into the final stretch of the year. I don't know what they're going to look like with Matt Moore under center. So that's a big loss for a team that has been playing well. Winners, I think, of 7 6 of the last 7, something like that.
Yeah. And, they had such a really great stretch for the last couple months here. And losing Ryan Tannehill in a year that they look like a playoff caliber team, it's very unfortunate. Ryan Tannehill has been really knocked by the media and the fans there, and he's finally putting together a respectable year. They finally have a really good team around him.
Yeah, and the fans did really cheer him yesterday, too, when he went off. So he's starting to, think about where they would be without Ryan Tannehill.
Exactly. They wouldn't be 8-5.
No, probably not. All right, moving on to another NFC-AFC matchup. You have the Panthers taking on the Chargers in the game. Surprisingly, the Panthers were able to win 28-16 over the Chargers. Philip Rivers did throw for 236 yards and 2 scores. Jonathan Stewart throws 66 yards and a touchdown from him. Greg Olsen, 87 yards receiving. You look at Cam Newton's day, not amazing by any means, but definitely better than the week prior. If you ask me, he ended up with 160 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Added 31 yards. On the ground for him as well. Not a great day, though, for the Chargers. Philip Rivers, 3 interceptions. If you want to sink a ship, that's how you do it. Moving on to probably the last game that we really thought was realistic. It can still happen, but the last realistic chance we thought the Browns had of winning a game.
I think they got one more chance, but I'll tell you.
Tell me about it, yeah.
I'll tell you when you're done here.
Okay, so the Browns lose this one to the Bengals, 23-10. Andy Dalton, 20 for 28, 180 yards, 2 scores, and a team that's still missing its biggest target, in A.J. Green. I'll tell you what the most Browns thing I've seen all season, besides no winning, is being on your 2-yard line and running a flea flicker.
Yes.
That then got thrown into triple coverage.
Yep.
For an interception.
Yes, it did.
That was not even as good as a punt would have been.
No, and I have no idea what the play call. I don't know why that was called. I don't know why.
Ben made a really good point. There's no reason you should run that play from there. So it makes sense because, hey, catch him off guard. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I personally would never run a flea flicker from anywhere other than the 20-yard line and above. Because there's so much can go wrong. Imagine turning around and throw that flea flicker back to Robert Griffin III, who's standing 6 yards deep in the end zone, 7 yards deep in the end zone, and your running back gets hit or his arm smacked, and you just throw that ball into the ground or over him or behind him through the back of the end zone for a safety, something like that, or a holding penalty on a flea flicker, a play that takes some time to develop because you have to throw it back and establish, and then he throws it into triple coverage instead of just maybe. I'm sure there's more routes than just the streak.
Let's just say there's a reason why they're 0-12.
Yeah, and that's the reason. 0-13.
0-13 now, yes. Excuse me.
Go ahead real quick before we move on.
Okay. I did pick the Browns to win this game, and we all picked the Browns to at least win once this year. I finally did it, and now I don't know if I can do it again. But I don't know if I can. You picked the Browns to win one.
I picked them.
Anthony picked them to win. I forget
the last time.
I
think to beat the Eagles.
Picked them to win 1 week. Ben picked them to week 1. He got that out of the way. Me, I picked them to win this Sunday. I thought this was a chance for them. No, it didn't happen. I don't see them winning against the Bills. No, I do not. On Christmas Eve, though, I think, realistically, they have a legit shot against the Chargers there. The Chargers are always that team to implode. Whenever, I do think that's going to be the most Chargers thing to do. The second to last game, when they're on the second to last game of the Chargers season before they move to LA.
Potentially, yeah.
I think the Chargers are going to find a way to lose to the Browns.
As it stands right now, Cleveland's odds of going 0-16 are up to 56% following their loss to Cincinnati. They see the Week 16 visit to the Chargers, like you said, as the best chance to avoid this win this season. But as it stands, they have 12% chance to win at the Bills. They have a 31% chance, so the biggest chance, to win their home game against the Chargers, and they have only about, right now, an 8% chance to defeat the Steelers at home. So, total of 56% possibility of going 0-16. That would be something. And by something, I mean, I don't care, really. But that would be too bad.
That'd be by something. You mean nothing.
You got me there. All right, let's finish out the morning games. We have the Bears and the Lions, and again, the Lions win one late, trailing in the fourth. Win it by at least one score. 20-17 over the Bears, who are now 3-10. A good day for Matt Stafford, 223 and a touchdown. A good day for Matt Barkley, also, who has not been horrible for the Bears since taking over. 212 and 1 for him. Jordan Howard, 86 yards. No touchdowns to speak of. Biggest problem in this one, Matt Stafford's probably going to have to finish the year with a glove on his hand. He did dislocate the top of his middle finger, and then that caused ligament damage as well. That happened, I think, before halftime in this one because he finished the game with a glove on. I'm not sure when exactly it happened, but yes, he did get injured. So we'll have to see a team that's 9-6 or 9-4 right now, and actually
the second seed
in the NFC. So playing pretty great.
Yeah, and the reason why they're the second seed we'll tell you a little bit later.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Now, moving on, we have an AFC South matchup, a game that we said the Colts needed to go to the source and get a win, but following a Titans win and a Colts loss, now they're sitting back in third place, having lost to the Texans 22-17. Andrew Luck did 276 and 2 for him. He did have a decent day. T.Y. Hilton 115 and 1, but the biggest problem being the Texans. Again, Brock Osweiler, 147 yards only, one interception. He took a sack twice, and not a great day for them, honestly. Lamar Miller, 107 for him. Big reason why they did win this game, 107-1, 185 yards as a team in terms of rushing. Not enough really could be done for the Colts. 2 picks from Andrew Luck just kind of sunk them in this one. So they again dropped to third place. Texans hold it tight on that first place spot, but still in a tie with Titans at 7-6. Now, of the last morning games, we have the Vikings and the Jaguars. The Vikings win this one 25-16 over the one can only say helpless Jaguars, who are now 2-11. Sam Bradford 292 and a score. Marquise Lee, though, for the Jaguars, 113 yards for him. He's looking like a late fantasy kind of guy in the season, and maybe you need some playoff help. Blake Bortles 257 and touchdown, not bad, but did take 4 sacks and only 85 yards as a team rushing. No one more than T.J. Yeldon at 59. One thing that not like it's relevant to the game, but where's Denard Robinson gone anywhere in this offense?
No, they have not.
They don't
found,
use him.
No, they don't. They have not found anywhere for him to. They haven't found a role for him, and I think the reason why for that is because you got the emergence of Marquise Lee there. You have Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns, who are known to be the top 2 guys there before this season.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also you signed Chris Ivory, who had some really good moments this year, and you got T.J. Yeldon, who he's been up and down.
He's kind of been their lead back the last few weeks.
There's really nowhere for Denard Robinson to play, so I would be surprised if they have to move him somewhere. Because I think Denard Robinson is a talented football player.
I do too.
Even in his days in Michigan when he was quarterback, and even when they switched him to running back in his final few games there at Michigan, I think he's a talented player, and you can put him at receiver, running back. I think he's somewhere you can. He's kind of like a Ty Montgomery type of player.
He can kind of move. He's a slasher.
Yeah, there you go.
He's a slasher. Yeah, it's just interesting. Something I noticed this weekend. All right, let's go to the afternoon games. The game that I tabbed as possibly the worst game of all time almost did end in a tie, like I tried to predict, but
I
texted me.
I thought it was going to.
Well, you know what? I don't blame them. So the Jets win this one 23-17. Bryce Petty gets his first win as a starter. I don't blame the Niners for going for it on 4th down and overtime because what do you have to lose? You're 1-11 at that point, Carlos Hyde had a good day, 193 for him on the ground. Just they blew a 17-point halftime lead and lose this one. It's just you have back-to-back games that just personify the Niners season, whether it's the excessive celebration for a non-score or blowing a 17-point lead to a team that has been garbage all year. But with a backup in a sense.
Backup to the backup.
In a sense, yeah, because obviously Geno Smith's out. And they lose this one, and it's just the Niners this year, But, for a second, I thought they were going to win that one, being up 17-0.
No, I thought they were going to win that one, too.
And I was like, they're really working to get the third draft pick now.
No, it's because, early in the game, the Niners offense really looked like a juggernaut. They just were completely shredding this Jets defense.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos Hyde he had 136 yards rushing before the
194 total. I have to look at his specific
before
rush
the halftime, he had at least 130. And Kaepernick he would start off really hot. He always has these games where he starts off hot, and they couldn't convert on the next two drives after they were up 14-0.
Mm-hmm.
They missed a couple of field goals there.
Yeah.
And that obviously hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
Second half, the offense is nowhere to be found.
Nowhere.
So that's just the story of the Niners season. They start off hot on these couple of games this year, and they just end up losing. And I was gonna say, man, they need a lot of help. I think they need a lot more help than quarterback there.
Yep, you're not wrong there. All right, let's move on to an NFC South matchup. The Buccaneers beat the Saints in a game that Drew Brees threw 3 picks, 16-11 in favor of the Buccaneers. Man, that defense is getting better. The defense is playing well, and they win again, and they're sitting in a playoff position right now.
Yes, they are, and they're heading to Dallas to play the Cowboys in a very a game that got flexed to Sunday night, actually.
Yeah, because both teams are playing so well. Mm-hmm. Moving on, we have the Falcons again, an NFC South team, playing against the Rams, a game that they absolutely manhandled, 42-14 over the Rams. Man, they have nobody over there. They have good pieces. Jared Goff looks to be good, but he doesn't have a lot of help. He's getting smushed. Todd Gurley, obviously, 61 yards and a score for him in this one. Good defensive players, Alec Ogletree, young potential players. No offensive line to protect you. You have no receivers to throw to. You have arguably a receiver that was looked at as a bust a few years ago, Kenny Britt, whom, is kind of your leading receiver. There's a lot to be done for the Rams right now, and they dropped to 4-9.
Yeah, and did you hear what Todd Gurley said about the Rams offense? He said, I think this is after the game. Probably when he was talking to the press. He said that the Rams are running a middle school offense.
Yeah, he said they look like a middle school offense out there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then they are. And I'm telling you right now, I bet Jeff Fisher really wishes his team could finish 7-9 because they can't.
Not at this point.
No.
Nope. All right, let's move on to a team that's also in the NFC West, and that's the Seahawks. And they lose big to the Packers, surprisingly. 3 touchdowns from Aaron Rodgers, 246 yards total. Devontae Adams, 104. Majority of those coming on one big catch, as he only had 4. But 5 picks from Russell Wilson, who's never thrown 5 in a game. He's thrown 4 before, but never 5.
Probably the worst game I've ever seen from Russell Wilson. I have never seen this Seattle team play this bad.
Poorly, yeah.
And I really do think that this defense really misses the presence of Earl Thomas there. You can really tell that his presence was missing. It's kind of like when Troy Polamalu was missing those few years for the Steelers defense when he kept getting injured.
Mm-hmm. And then came back and kind of hurting them more than helping them.
Yeah, I think that I'm not going to say Earl Thomas is going to come back and kind of hurting them in a way, but
I get what you mean. We saw it last year with Chancellor. You have differences in the secondary.
Yeah, the presence isn't there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I get you. We'll have to see what they do moving forward as they have a big game coming up next week for Seattle. They're going to play the Rams, who have had chances of beating them before.
Yeah.
All right, and last but not least, let's do Sunday night before we take our first break. The Giants beat the Cowboys in a close, kind of boring game, as a matter of fact, 10-7. Odell Beckham Jr., 4 receptions for 94 yards. Only one of those was really significant because it was about 80 yards, so touchdown for them. It really separated the game. 193 yards for Eli and a score. Dak looked kind of pedestrian at times. Ezekiel, 107 yards, though, for him, but they do fall to the Giants, whom this is the 3rd straight game for Eli throwing under 200 yards, yet they've won 2 of them. And the last time they did that was back in 2008 when they went to the Super Bowl. So a weird kind of an omen there, I guess.
And I do think that if this game proves that Dallas is not going to run through everyone in the playoffs here. If Dallas happens to play the Giants in the playoffs, they're going to be in big trouble here. I do think. The Giants they match up so well with the Cowboys, and they seem to be the only team that know the formula to beat them.
Exactly, yeah. I don't get it. That's 2 for them.
So if Dallas happens to meet the Giants in the playoffs,
look out, Dallas.
I think that's going to be a huge problem for them.
I can't help but agree. All right, well, we're going to take our first break, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk some college news here in just a moment. So we'll be right back after the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. And we got some breaking news here this morning. It is 8:50 here in the West Coast. Okay, Lane Kiffin. We all thought that he was going to be the head coach of the Houston Cougars there, the University of Houston, that is. Well, that apparently didn't happen. They promoted offensive coordinator Major Applewhite, which I thought was a really great hire. So there was some rumors that Lane Kiffin was going to go to University of South Florida, but that went to another coach who we're going to talk about here later on in this segment. But Lane Kiffin has agreed to become Florida Atlantic's coach on a 5-year deal.
According to sources.
According to sources.
But this source is actually ESPN. At least it's listed. At least it's listed on ESPN as opposed to when Houston was announced. It was nowhere on any sports sites, really, at least notable ones. So more believable.
Yeah, and I believe this a lot more than the Houston, deal. A lot of more reporters confirmed it on Twitter, so I do think this is actually going to happen, and I don't think we have to do this again. But this is a small school hire. This is a big-time hire for a very small-time program in the Conference USA. This is a huge opportunity for Lane Kiffin to prove himself again that he can become a valuable head coach in college. And this is a very good opportunity for Florida Atlantic to maybe get some national attention here. It has gained him national attention this morning. And if Lane Kiffin can prove himself within maybe probably 2 years. I think he's going to be there for 2 years max. If he can prove himself there for 2 years, he's probably going to go to a Power 5 school.
Yeah, move up in conference.
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
But Florida Atlantic, they were 3-9 last season. They've probably been one of the worst FBS teams the past 3 years. They went 9-27. So I do think this is a chance for Florida Atlantic to gain some notoriety there.
Yeah, and potentially get better. So that's a big part of that. They're not signing him to get famous, to be more notable. They're trying to get better, and I think that they could possibly do that with this hiring. We've seen him have trouble at Tennessee and USC and Oakland, and it's gonna be interesting to see exactly if he is the head coach, where they if they improve from here. You'll get some people that want to go to that school now because of him. Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, if he is not successful here at Florida Atlantic, he's probably done as a head coach. If he can't succeed here in the Conference USA,
just a good coordinator
he's probably going to be the best coordinator of all time.
Yeah, just a good coordinator who don't know how to be cool, man. Yeah. Stay cool, Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
Come on. Anyways, let's talk about USF.
USF, which was the job that I thought Lane Kiffin was going to take, or at least thought he was going to go there instead of Houston. But it looks like that's going to former Texas Longhorns coach, Charlie Strong. He agreed to become the South Florida's next head coach this past Sunday, actually.
Yes, sir.
He's actually also on a 5-year deal. And I do think this is a good hire for a school that really wanted to – that really has been – it's a good team that he's taken over. It's a good team because Willie Taggart, who was the former coach of South Florida, became the head coach of Oregon. South Florida, they've been really good past year, 10-2. We didn't see them at all finishing that good in the American Conference. American Conference is a very tough conference. It's probably one of I think maybe the second toughest group of 5 conferences there is. And I do like this hire as well. Charlie Strong, he's been really good. He was good at Louisville. He didn't have a good his career in Texas didn't end really good, but this is a really good hire for USF here.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, and he's a good player coach, and I think that's something that a lot of teams like to get. So,
yeah, and I do think if Charlie Strong is successful here, I do think he's going to become a coach at a Power 5 school again. Mm-hmm. So this is one of those jobs before the job. So
job before the job.
Yeah.
All right, and last but not least, let's talk about the Heisman Trophy. Just as we all assumed, Lamar Jackson becomes the youngest player ever to win the Heisman at 19 years old and 333 days, something like that. He's actually just 5 days shy, of what Jameis Winston was when he was the youngest to ever win it. He received 2,144 points in terms of first-place votes. Deshaun Watson behind him at 1,524, so a big drop. Baker Mayfield, 361, even bigger drop, down to D.D. Westbrook, 209. Jabril Peppers at 208, and somebody who wasn't a quote-unquote finalist, Jake Browning, finished in sixth place in the Heisman voting. He received 3 first-place votes. Jackson becomes the first ACC player to ever win the award. He also becomes the third FBS player with 30 passing touchdowns and 30 rushing touchdowns in a season following Cam Newton and Tim Tebow to win the Heisman. Very much deserved. He did have a lull there near the end of the year, but it was going to go to him.
Yeah, he won it by default.
This season, rushing yards by quarterback first, total yards first, TDs responsible for, tied for third.
Yeah, and I kind of think this Heisman class was kind of weak this year.
Yeah, it didn't have Lamar was very good, but it didn't have like a killer set of candidates. And we talked about Jake Browning being a finalist. I get why he wasn't. He would have been the fourth quarterback on that list.
Yeah,
he already had 3, a receiver and a
exactly.
DB.
I get why he wasn't, but I feel like he still should have, got invited to New York.
Yeah, but again, he would have had 4 quarterbacks up there. Yeah. So understandably, why not? Anyways, we're going to go ahead and take our last break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk tonight's Monday Night Football game in the AFC, but before we do that, we're going to take that last break. So we'll be right back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
And we are back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. We're going to end the show talking just how we started, NFL football. We're going to preview tonight's Monday Night Football game between the Baltimore Ravens and the New England Patriots. So let's get into that. The Patriots 10-2 on the year. Ravens 7-5 going to this one. I got to give it to the Patriots. I mean, you're shaking your head like it's I got to give it to the Patriots. What do you think?
I got to. I can't pick against the Patriots. I can't find a reason to pick against them. All I can find is reasons to pick for them. Mm-hmm. And I know that the Ravens are fighting for the division title here.
Yes, if they win, they go back into first place in the North, and that would be third seeding.
Very important game for the Ravens here. Very important
very
game.
Much so, yeah.
I do expect a really good competitive game here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm gonna just go with Patriots all the way here. They're at home, Foxborough. Yeah, and
they're playing for something too. If they win this game, they're in sole possession of the first place.
Exactly.
Seeding in the playoffs.
After the Raiders lost on Thursday, mm-hmm. This is a big game for New England as well. Because I do think if the Raiders let's just say they won Thursday and held on to the first seed,
mm-hmm.
I think if the playoffs would have started and if the Raiders and the Patriots would have been the 1 and the 2, I think it would have spelled trouble for the Patriots there. I do think maybe they would have had a tough time in Oakland, but I do think now since the Raiders are not going to be the first seed, I do think that's a possibility now. I do think that spells a lot more trouble for Oakland than it is for the Patriots.
Well, now they're a wild card team. That's a pretty good wild card team sitting at 10-3.
That's a pretty good wild card team too. They're probably going to have to play on the road,
mm-hmm.
which I think they will. But yeah, I'm going to have to go with Patriots all the way. Can't really say anything bad against them. They're like
missing some pieces, but I mean they're still the Patriots. Like Garrett Blount is about 43 yards away from 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns for him. And he's only ran the ball 230 times. It's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Their defense is playing, just as good as it does at times, and Tom Brady's Tom Brady. So I got to give it to the Patriots in this one. No matter how good at times the Ravens have played this year, they still have some issues across the board health-wise. Their defense is good, but it's not amazing. It is one of the better ones, though, for sure this year. I think at one point it was ranked number 1, if it's not still. So that's going to be interesting in this game, but I got to give it to the Patriots. They've seemed to, the Ravens have beaten them, yes, but I think out of those matchups, the Patriots have seemed to win more often. So I am going Patriots.
Yep, me too.
All right. Well, as always, we'd like to thank you guys for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. We will be back tomorrow, obviously, to talk tonight's game and anything and everything that happens in between now and then. Jeremiah will be joining me, as always, and Anthony will be back on Wednesday.
Yes, he will.
All right. Well, as always, I'd like to thank you for listening. We're going to go and get out of here. So for Anthony, I am Alex.
And I am Jeremiah.
And Ben will rejoin us on Friday, as always, as well, with the box full of candy in which he just grabbed from our new studio.
He got it from the new office. And the boss said that he was going to throw all the candy away today.
Yeah.
That didn't stop Ben
Because
from getting a whole box.
Full of 2-year and 1-year-old candy.
Yes. I literally only took like 3 Cliff Bars and probably like 2 Kit Kats, and that was it. I wasn't going to go overboard. Our boss said, okay, if you guys are going to get 1, I suggest to get 4. Ben really took that really literally. He got 4. He got 4 of each.
I didn't get any because I don't want 2-year-old candy. So.
Yeah, and I actually ate one of the Clif Bars here before the segment, and I can feel it in my throat.